Not many vehicles in the world enjoy the kind of reputation the 4Runner does. It ages like wine and somehow gets even more love with every new model year, despite the fact that the outgoing model has been around for 15 years. Well, that changes too with a completely redesigned 2025 model year that will bring needed improvements. But in this video, we won't talk about the things we love about this popular off-roader. No, we bring you 8 reasons why you should not buy the 4Runner, neither the outgoing nor the upcoming generation. Number 8. Not the best choice for pavement. The 4Runner is an excellent off-roader, but with its 3-row SUV layout, it imposes itself as a great family hauler too, a versatile tool we all want to have. But things are far from ideal because even though the 4-link suspension on the rear and a double wishbone suspension on the front may look great on paper, on-road quality brings a lot of trade-offs. The steering is imprecise and the ride is very bumpy. At the same time, the vehicle's high center of gravity and body-on-frame construction translates to plenty of body roll, which altogether turns the 4Runner into not the easiest and most comfortable vehicle to drive. Moreover, owners have also reported a lot of nosediving while braking, which also contributes to the far from ideal driving experience. As for the new generation, we will have to try it out before we say anything. For now, we know that the base suspension setup won't change significantly, but we may see a few tweaks to improve ride quality on pavement. As for off-road performance, one of the only bad news that we can think of is that the kinetic dynamic suspension system is no longer available, and that it will be replaced by a classic stabilized bar disconnect system. Number 7. Terrible fuel economy and short range. The outgoing generation has been praised for its unparalleled reliability and durability, and the engine is certainly one of the key reasons. That 4-liter V6 always seemed bulletproof, and we feel like it could run until the end of the world. However, the trade-off comes in the form of poor fuel economy. This isn't a modern car-based crossover, but rather a genuine body-on-frame SUV. It's heavy and bulky, while the engine definitely isn't the most modern around. So don't be surprised that the average fuel economy is going around 18 mpg city and 19 mpg highway. And that's for the rear-wheel drive model. 4-wheel drive versions as well as dedicated off-roaders are even worse. But we don't think that for most owners, these poor MPG ratings would be much of a problem if the fuel tank was bigger. Unfortunately, the fuel capacity is 23 gallons, which in theory means around 390 miles with a full tank. In practice, the range is even shorter. The 4Runner definitely needs a larger tank, but unfortunately, that didn't change with the new generation. Still, the new generation will come as a hybrid as well as with a more efficient Turbo 4, so we presume that the max range is going to improve a bit. Number 6. Interior quality. The problem with the 4Runner is that even if you buy an example that's a few years old, you're still getting an interior that hasn't changed much for a full 15 years. As mentioned, the outgoing generation has been around for a full 15 years, and although Toyota did make a few minor updates, the overall cabin layout remained the same. The dashboard looks old and misses some of the tech features you get with the latest Toyotas. Moreover, although the overall build quality is good, most areas are wrapped with low-rent materials. In many ways, this interior shows its age, starting from the aging infotainment system, the fact that storage areas aren't exactly designed for modern tech features. For example, there isn't exactly an area that fits modern smartphones, but thankfully, all that changes with the new generation, which adopts way more modern design and latest tech features, including the massive 14-inch infotainment screen. Number 5. Rear passenger room. As mentioned, the 4Runner imposes itself as a family hauler thanks to its 3-row layout, but if that's your primary concern, believe us, there are much better options around, especially among unibody crossovers. The 4Runner may be generous with cargo space, but its 3rd row works only for kids, considering that it offers just 29.3 inches of legroom and 34.3 inches of headroom. Things are much better in the 2nd row, which is good for around 33 inches of leg and 38.6 inches of headroom. Thankfully, things are changing in a positive direction. Namely, even though we still haven't got the official numbers, we are pretty sure that the new generation is a bit more generous in this aspect. That comes from our visual impression, but also from the fact that the 6th generation 4Runner has grown in size notably and now features a 2.5-inch longer wheelbase and comes with 5 more inches in length and 2 more inches in width. So we're pretty sure that this has brought additional passenger space on the inside. Number 4. The new powertrain needs to prove itself as a worthy successor. The outgoing 5th generation 4Runner has an extremely reliable and durable powertrain, but a powertrain that has been criticized a lot for its poor fuel economy and lack of torque. So Toyota decided to modernize the legendary SUV by offering two new powertrain options, both significantly more advanced. The first one is a 2.4-liter Turbo 4, which puts out 278 horsepower and should offer more low-end torque than the naturally aspirated V6. And even though it's not a brand new engine, it still needs to prove itself because so far it's been used in crossovers and passenger cars. We can't wait to see how it performs demanding off-road tasks. The same thing is with the 8-speed automatic gearbox, though we have no reason to expect any problems with this, considering that it's pretty much the same unit that was used in the previous generation Land Cruiser 200. The second novelty is a hybrid powertrain, for the first time in a 4Runner and the exact same unit as in the Tacoma. 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque sound impressive, but we would rather wait for a bit to see how things work in real-life exploitation because this is a very fresh powertrain. Number 3. Old powertrain is really old. If you want to avoid potential reliability issues, then the old model with the V6 is a no-brainer. But unparalleled reliability requires a couple of compromises because we're talking about an engine that has been around for a long time. It definitely isn't the most modern technology around, and that means that you should be ready for a couple of drawbacks. First of all, it's a naturally aspirated engine with 270 horsepower and 278 pound-feet of torque, and since there is no forced induction, the peak torque and power are available at pretty high RPMs, meaning that uphill ride, towing, and similar things require a bit of work, which negatively affects already modest MPG ratings. Furthermore, there's the matter of transmission, because when was the last time you saw a 5-speed gearbox other than the 4Runner? It's old and it lacks gears, so it won't give you the most pleasurable driving experience or the best fuel economy. Still, no one denies its excellent reliability-wise. Number 2. Reliability. With Toyota, it's mostly about reliability and durability, and the Japanese automaker is still the leader in the business, even though more sophisticated technology did leave a few scars over the last decade or so. Anyway, the outgoing 5th generation 4Runner is a no-brainer, but will it be the case with its successor? Yes, Toyotas are super reliable, but look what happened with the Turbo V6 Tundra. It turned out that there are pretty serious flaws that needed to be removed. The same thing could happen with the 4Runner, considering that it comes with a couple of new very modern powertrains, as well as a whole bunch of other advanced tech features. With all that in mind, it may be better to stick with the golden rule of car purchases. Never buy a new vehicle in its first year production. The 2025 4Runner will be the first production year of the new generation, so it might be better to sit and wait for a year or two, or to get the old one despite the outdated design. Number 1. Pricing. Back in the day, things were simple. The 4Runner was an excellent value, an affordable no-nonsense off-roader, while luxury bits and premium prices were reserved for the Land Cruiser and Lexus models. Well, those days are gone, and even the 4Runner is not a cheap one anymore, even though we still believe it's a great value in this world with skyrocketing prices. The outgoing generation starts at around $42,000, while the new model is expected to start at around $43,000, so we can't say it's a drastic increase. Still, prices can become pretty hefty if base versions are not good enough for you, considering that already mid-range off-roaders like the TRD Off-Road will now cost over $50,000. The problem is with the range-topping variants, which will be offered exclusively with a hybrid powertrain and cost way more than before. For example, the next generation TRD Pro is expected to go around $66,000, $10,000 more than the outgoing generation, while the new range-topping Platinum is expected to start at around $74,000. That's way too deep into the Lexus category if you ask us. Thanks for watching and see you next time.